Hello there, you amazing applicant. Kanisha here with a burning question we have all wondered at some point. How many grad schools should I apply to? Now, this is something that we cover extensively with our Application Accelerator clients at the Art of Applying. But if you're not an Application Accelerator client, what's a person to do? So let's dive into this topic and shed some light on this often confusing and important aspect of the application process. Here's the thing, when you're deciding on how many grad schools to apply to, it's crucial not to overstretch or undershoot. Why is that? If you apply to too few schools, you might find yourself left out in the cold without any acceptance letters in hand, a situation we obviously want to avoid. Secondly, if you apply to too few schools, you leave yourself in a very vulnerable position when it comes to financial aid. If you apply to more schools and submit very high quality applications to all those schools, you're in a much better position to then get into several schools with several offers and be able to negotiate between the schools to get higher offers. But if you only get into one or two schools and only one or zero schools gives you a scholarship, you don't really have a strong place from which to negotiate. So you want to find the balance between applying to too many schools, but also too few schools. If you get overenthusiastic and if you apply to too many schools, you risk burnout, wasted resources, and a decrease in the quality of your applications. You don't want to end up submitting subpar applications just for the sake of getting them all done. So, what's the magic number? With our Application Accelerator clients, we use a nifty little in-house tool, a proprietary calculator that I created that generates a personalized recommendation for each of our Application Accelerator clients. The number is tailored to their individual circumstances, taking into account factors such as their targeted degree, professional aspirations, their GPA, their test scores, their age, and other demographic factors. But let's say you're not in the Application Accelerator, or you just want to get a preliminary idea of the range before joining us. I've put together a handy guide to get you started. But hold on for a moment before we jump into the numbers. It's important to note that the recommended range of applications is influenced by several factors. The number of dream or reach schools on your list, for instance, could mean you'll need to apply to more schools to increase your chances of getting into one of them. Always balance those competitive schools with others that are a closer match for your GPA and test scores. Similarly, if your GPA or test scores are lower than the school's published median scores, you should aim for a higher number of applications. All right, let's get to the juicy part. Here's the guideline for how many grad schools to apply to, depending on your degree of choice. Let's first talk about education, social work, public health, and similar degrees. For those degrees, I suggest 4 to 7 schools. For a policy school, full-time degrees such as the MPP or the MPA or similar degrees, I also suggest 4 to 7 schools. Now, let's talk about if you want to do a policy school, executive or mid-career program, such as the MPA mid-career at Harvard Kennedy School or the EMPA or similar degrees. I would suggest in that case that you can actually get away with applying to just 2 to 4 schools. For business school MBA full-time programs, I recommend you apply to 6 to 10 schools. I myself only applied to 2 business schools, Stanford Graduate School of Business, where I was waitlisted, and Harvard Business School, where I was admitted. However, I knew that I was playing hardball and playing a very risky game, and I was only 21 years old. So I knew that if I didn't get in, that was the very likely outcome and that I could just choose a different path and later reapply after I actually got some full-time work experience. It did work out for me, but I do not recommend you apply to only 1 or 2 top business schools. It's not a good idea. Not a great use of your effort either. When it comes to executive MBA programs, I recommend applying to 3 to 5 schools. For those of you applying to law school, I recommend you apply to 8 to 14 schools. Wowza, that's a lot of schools. But law school applications are extremely competitive, and if you struggle with the LSAT or the GRE, you definitely want to keep these numbers in mind. So 8 to 14 it is. For PhD programs, same number, 8 to 14 programs. And then for joint degrees, I recommend 7 to 14, counting each application separately, meaning an application to the Harvard Policy Business Joint Degree, that would be 2 applications. So for those of you who are looking at joint degrees, whether it's business and policy, business and law, law and education, whatever you're combining, I recommend 7 to 14. So joint degrees are really common among our clients. When you are applying to a joint degree, what you can do is choose a number from each degree, add them together, and then subtract 2 to 3 schools from the list. For instance, if you're applying to highly competitive MBA and MPP programs and you have a low GPA, you might take the highest number from each range, 7 for policy school and 10 from business school. That gives you 17 total. Now, 17 schools is likely too many for just about any degree. So I'd subtract 3 schools, winding up with 14 schools total. Okay, folks, remember, these guidelines are general and not as precise as the calculator we use with our Application Accelerator clients at the Art of Applying. And remember, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. And we've got clients all over the globe, from San Francisco to Seoul, and the number of schools they're applying to varies widely. Whether it's just 3 or 4 schools or a staggering list of 15-plus institutions, we're there to guide you and them every step of the way. Hope this helps you get a clearer perspective on tackling this part of the application process. If you have any more questions, feel free to comment or reach out to us at The Art of Applying. We're here to make your journey towards your dream school as smooth as possible. Until next time, I'm Kanisha, founder and CEO of The Art of Applying. You got this.